united, will never be divided. Trans people, united, will never be divided. Trans people, united, will never be divided.
Amazing, amazing, and so true.
Trans rights are under attack. What do we do? Fight back. Trans rights are under attack. What do we do? Fight back. Trans rights are under attack. What do we do? Fight back.
Thank you so much, Martha, and it's so nice to see so many people out here today supporting this. I was absolutely horrified as a Member of Parliament to hear that the government were going to U-turn on conversion therapy. I was even more horrified when they decided that they were going to exclude one part of our community from a ban. I think that that level of discrimination is absolutely abhorrent and needs calling out. Cassie is a transgender woman. At the insistence of her family, she began treatment to cure her gender identity. Her counsellor, a member of her faith community, began with talking therapy, encouraging her to unpick why she thought she was not the gender into which she'd been born. It soon turned into accusations that she was mentally unwell, broken, that she had been abused, and that her parents had failed her. At the sessions continued, she was read Holy Scripture and denunciations of the transgender lifestyle. I just think that these sorts of things are happening in our city, and I think that that's why we need a ban, and why it's absolutely clear that we need to become a conversion therapy-free city. But one of the things as a politician which I find really difficult to understand is that while there's a moral panic about trans people just often trying to access healthcare and support, there is very little concern, and that's usually under the guise of safeguarding children. There's very little concern about the well-evidenced experience of the torture, essentially, which is what conversion therapy is. There's levelled against young people predominantly, and the safeguarding risks for young people.
And I will not stand by as our politicians, our media and anti-trans hate groups paint them as predators and at risk of the safeguard issue. The safeguard issue is the transphobes, not trans people. We hear so much talk about conversion therapy, but it is not therapy, it is abuse. The United Nations, the International Convention on the Rehabilitation of Torture Victims, every single medical organisation, human rights organisation, agreed that conversion therapy is torture. And our government say that it is an abusive, coercive practice, but yet they're happy to ban it for LGBT people, but not trans people. That is not acceptable. I just want to remind people of a few things while we wait for our next speaker, before we have our next speaker. It is getting warm, it is getting sunny, feel free to take a seat and have some water. That's what, if you need to look after yourself, you need to do that. As I said at the beginning, please avoid taking photos of faces, audience members' faces. We know for many reasons that people don't want photos taken of them at events like today. And if you happen to be thinking about leaving, that's fine. It's been amazing to have you, but please do try and leave safely in numbers.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. My name's Ash Routh. I use she/they pronouns, and I am a proud trans woman. I've marched through London alongside thousands of other trans people. I've stood outside Downing Street and listened to other trans speakers. I've watched anti-trans protests in London, at Green Party conference and elsewhere. I've been active in British party politics long before and ever since the anti-trans movement picked up steam. And I have some observations, some good news. There is a reason why trans rights protests draw so many people. There is a reason why anti-trans protests are the same 100 tired faces over and over again. There's a reason why, time and time again, parties like mine elect proudly pro-trans leaders in landslides. There's a reason why attempts to measure anti-trans thought at the ballot, as with ALBA and other parties, have consistently come to nothing. As well-resourced, well-organised and well-publicised as the anti-trans movement in the UK is, it isn't actually very big. An army of Twitter bots can't turn up to a protest. A mountain of money from the American fundamentalist far right can't march through our streets, and the only reason why the government is even contemplating participating in this sustained attack on the trans community is because they think it will win them votes. Don't be fooled into thinking that this is a uniquely conservative problem. There are 100 or so anti-trans activists in every party. They migrate around whenever they think there's an important vote they can swing, and a few of them sit on election ballots hoping to ride into office unnoticed, so that they can claim that their hate is popular.
We are nothing new. We have just now recently, in the last decade or so, had the confidence to come out and start living our truths. Nearly 50% of all transgender people who come out attempt suicide. And that's not suicide, attempted suicide, because they feel like they've made a mistake. That's attempted suicide because of disownment from family, friends, loss of careers, and lack of employment. By the government saying that they are not going to ban conversion therapy for we transgender people, it is giving the bigots and potential employers the freedom to discriminate against us even more.
Hi guys, I'm Adam. I go by they them pronouns. You know, as a young LGBT person, I came out when I was 14, and my family's response was fantastic. My brother's response was to tell me how long was I planning on holding that in for. My mum's response was to turn to my dad and go, "Told you, pass me 20 quid." And my best friend, when I told her the day after I came out, I had a load of homophobic abuse thrown at me, and all I got from my best friend and from someone that I didn't know that well was to look after me and care for me and stand up for me. As a young LGBT person, I've been out for nearly 10 years, right? As somebody who's seen younger people in this community get screwed over by the GRA, by the fact that the NHS trans programs have been horrifically underfunded, and the fact that patients are having to go private just to be able to be who they are, gets me massively. I've been an NHS worker for 6 years, right? I've worked with kids for most of that. I've had patients come to me who have been on the borderline of, you know, having serious mental health issues, and I've had to signpost them to private clinics myself. Protest wins by being uncomfortable.
What was that?